Hey, it's Greg here with MaritimeGardening.com, and I was just out here peeling off some poles to use in my garden this coming spring. And I thought I'd do a video talking about why I bother peeling them, and also some different techniques I use for doing that, because you wouldn't think that it requires a lot of technique, but there's actually, while you're peeling it, you got to hold it, right? So there's a lot of little different techniques you can use to make that easier that I've picked up along the way. All right, so let's get started here. So it's going to be a nice strong trellis. I'm lucky, I got a forested area behind the house there, and I own some of it. So I can go into the thick woods, and there's always, when you got a thick stand of trees, spruce trees, there's always these little skinny ones that try to grow to reach the light, and they get outcompeted by the bigger trees, and they stay small, and actually they grow very, very small and spindly, and then they die, like this one here. Okay, so this is a completely dry, lightweight, but not rotten at all, dead standing tree. So it makes a great, strong, long-lasting stake for using in the garden. So if you've got access to any kind of land like that, this is a great time of year to be out doing that if it's not too cold, because there's no flies and there's no gardening to be done this time of year. So I've partly peeled this one here. And the reason you want to peel them is that they last longer. Think about when it's got a bark. When a dead tree has a bark on it, every time it rains, that bark sucks up moisture and it stays wet and hangs on to the moisture and keeps the wood inside the tree from drying out. So as long as there's bark on the tree it gets wetter and it stays wetter longer, which means it rots faster. Okay, so if you peel them, they'll last a lot longer, and what you'll find is they just rot at the bottom where you've got them driven into the ground. So if you make them nice and long, a good 7 or 8 feet, what's this one here? That's at least 8 feet, okay? Then when the bottom, you drive them down about 1.5 feet into the ground. What is that? 45 centimeters, give or take. So if the part where it's actually not the part in the ground that rots, and it's not it's where it's where the ground meets it. That's where the most moisture and oxygen is. That's where it rots out. So you can cut that off, right? And you still get a 6-foot long pole, right? So you can get 2 uses out of it, right? You put one of these, you take it out of the ground every fall, right? And maybe you get 3 years out of one of these, and you cut it off where it's rotted at the bottom, and you get another 3 years out of it, right? So that's all I do. I don't bother treating them or anything like that. There's no point. I have a large resource of them, and they're going to rot anyway, right? So anyway, first thing you want to do, because they're a real pain, is it's better to use an axe for this if you've got one, is to bang off all the knots. Wherever a branch came out of that tree, right, that knot is going to really fatigue your arm when you're trying to skin the pole. So if you remove those first, it makes peeling it a lot easier. And just by doing that, I mean, you're piercing the skin in a sense, right? You're kind of pre-peeling it in a sense, right? So by doing that, you're going to make it a lot easier to peel. Number one, because the knots won't be in the way, right? Because it's exhausting to go through a knot using a knife, even a big knife. The axe is for, especially a little axe like this, it's for limbing, right? So, and when you're doing the limbing, hold it upside down, right? All of those little limbs are way more likely to come off easily if you do it when the tree's upside down. In general, I can't speak to every type of tree, but most trees, it's almost like they want to give up their limbs if you hold it upside down. All right, and what I do is you don't have to have a big thing like this. I find a larger knife is better. A machete's too much knife, and a small, like 4-inch knife, it works, but a little bit of weight is nice because you can sort of get a bit of a swing. You can build a little momentum, right? And there's another reason I like a knife this size as well, which I'll show you in a second. What I do is normally I'll hold this down because I like to go down. You should never be cutting up, it's exhausting. But just holding it down like this, right? I take off the first 2 feet just like you're peeling a carrot. Okay, once you've done that, then what you can do, let's see if I can get far enough away to do this. You drive it into the ground a little bit, and you don't have to do this step, but you know, if you bruise easily or whatever, I'm just thinking of other, I don't do this, but you put something over the end of it, drive it into your belly, okay? You don't have to do that. I usually don't, because I just can't be bothered. But if you do a whole bunch of these like that, you might get a bruise or a mark on your belly. You know, if you care about that sort of thing, right? If you're the, you know, chicks dig scars type, then go bruise your belly. Anyway, now, because I got this long knife, I can grab the back of the blade, right? My hand is always behind the blade, right? And now I can pull on it like a draw knife, right? And I can do almost one whole side. All right, then I just give it a quarter turn, peel her off, knock off what's left, right? Now I'm cutting towards myself here, right? And some people say never cut towards yourself, but what can I possibly do to myself? There's nothing I can do, because my arm, because of where I'm holding this, my arms are going to hit my chest before the knife does. The knife doesn't even reach my chest, right? Okay. So I've done one pass like that. Now I can bend over. Am I still in the frame? I can bend way over and do another pass. So now I've done about 4 feet of it. Okay. Now, again, holding it upside down. You always want to hold it upside down if you can. Right now I've got it in a position where it's reasonably comfortable. Right where I'm cutting down. I got it on about a 45-degree angle, maybe a little bit less than that, 33-degree angle. Right, and I can just peel this off. Now sometimes the peel, depending on how old and how rotted the wood is, right, the peel might come off really easily, and sometimes it's almost like it's glued on. This one today, and also depending on how cold it is, might be frozen on, right? So this one wasn't too bad, but also wasn't easy, right? But this one here is a very recently dead tree, right? It's probably only been dead for a year or so, because it's almost like perfect wood, right? No issues. So there's one. All right, now here's one that's got a pretty, seems to me it's got a peel that wants to come off. So let me just see how quickly I can peel this guy. And while I'm doing this, I think I'll talk about something, because actually this is coming off with the axe. So the bark on this is really, this is a more rotted tree. So this one will not last as long as the other one, because it's got a bit more, you can sort of tell. You look at the end grain here. I don't know if there's enough light to see that, but you can see there's sort of like an inner circle and then an outer circle that are two different colors, right? And that's because the outer circle is rotten, right? So we got like a 2-inch diameter, but really there's only like an inch of truly sound wood, right? So this is on the bright side, something like this is very easy to peel. But I thought I'd talk briefly about a concept I hear a lot from people, especially people, I work in an office, so the sort of thing people in an office might say, I guess. But they'll say like, well, think of the time you're putting into that. Why don't you just go to the store and buy some, right? Just buy some steaks, because then they're ready to go, right? Now for me, so often people will talk about this concept of, you know, your time has a value, and it does, right? Of course your time has a value. But the point is that idea where it's more efficient to buy it, and you're sort of wasting your time if you do all this stuff by hand. This runs on the assumption that all of your time could be converted into money. That might make sense if you're a lawyer or a consultant or something like that, in high demand, and literally every minute of your life could be a minute that you're selling to someone for a price, right? But I always ask myself, like, what would you be doing if you weren't doing that thing? I'll tell you right now, if I wasn't doing this right now, I'd be watching TV. I was watching TV before I did this, right? I mean, these days we've got all these channels, almost infinite sources of entertainment. But anyway, so I mean, if I wasn't doing this, I would be doing something else with my time, which is enjoyable and relaxing and entertaining, but it's not like I'm foregoing or giving up an opportunity to earn, right? There's all kinds of my time that I'm just not earning money. So, you know, whenever anyone says, well, what about the value of your time for anything I'm doing in my garden? I mean, on the one hand, it all results in vegetables, which are worth money. So I'm turning, you know, my exercise, my outdoor time, my meditative time, whatever you want to call that. I find doing something like this very, I suppose I have my own definition of meditation, but, you know, sitting in a lotus position, listening to bells and staring at a candle. Well, if that works for you, you go for it, but that's not my sort of thing, right? Something like this where I can totally be in the moment, focused on what I'm doing. And, you know, when I'm done, I got results, right, that I can look at, something useful that I can use. Also, while I'm doing whatever it is, is this one done? It's almost done. While I'm doing whatever it was I was doing, I'm developing a skill, right? I'm improving on a skill I already have. I'm also exercising a skill I already have, right? If you have a great martial artist, it's not like they stop training. It's not like they stop practicing basic skills, right? They always do the basic things, and they continually add more sophisticated, nuanced things to their basic things, right? And even through doing that, they find better ways to do the basic things. Listen to anyone talk at length about that sort of thing. It's the sort of thing they'll say. But I find it holds for a lot of things in life, especially things that involve using your hands, doing physical work, you know, using skills, using tools, that sort of stuff. I find that over time, you just get, I mean, it's a shame we can't live longer. I'm 50 now, and I'm hitting that age where my body just doesn't want to sustain. I mean, I can still do a lot. I'm still very able. I think I'm in reasonably good shape for my age. But I can tell the difference between 30 or 50, 40, and 30. There's definitely a difference. I feel it, right? But anyway, it's nice to have a set of skills, to continually improve them, but also just to use them, just to practice them, you know. Every time you practice the skill, you get a little more capable with that skill. Every time you use a tool, you get a little bit better with the tool, of course. Faster, more efficient. You know, all that stuff for me has a value. And of course, just being outdoors has a value. You know, when I'm doing stuff like this, I remind myself that there's like people that live in cities that spend money to go take workshops to practice doing stuff like this all weekend. Not even for any purpose, just to be good at it. Right? There's people that literally pay for the opportunity to do this chore, right? So all of that rolls around in my head when I'm doing stuff like this, and suddenly the task does not seem like, you know, a waste of perfectly good time. Oh, there's one more hold I wanted to show you. There's this one. I forgot to show you this. So you put it between your legs carefully, right? Cross your legs, okay? and sort of adopt a wide stance once they're crossed so you don't tip over. Right, you have this in the ground a little bit. So now you sort of got 3 points of contact. Okay? And now, and this is for doing that pole shave when it's further away. Right, so you're leaning on it a little bit, and the pole's keeping you from falling forward, and you're pulling back on it. Anyway, just a how-to ramble about life sort of video. I was just out here working on this, and my mind was wandering. I was like, you know, I think this would make a good video. So I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you want to help support everything I'm doing here, go to vessies.com to buy whatever you need for your garden this year. And use my coupon code GAVS23 to get free shipping as long as there's a pack of seeds in the order and there's no oversized items in the order. Check out the description box of this video for details. You can buy everything you need from Vessies. They have seeds, fruit bushes and trees, soil amendments, pest solutions, tools, clothing, and lots of other stuff too. So yeah, if you want to help support everything I'm doing here and they sell something you need, buy it from them using my coupon code, and happy gardening.